All right. So today on First Cup, we got a whole bunch of stuff. You guys have been doing a great job leaving stuff in the Facebook group. So things in there we're going to talk about around gifts and how to decide what ideas you should work on, and a whole bunch more. So stick around. We're going to do that in just a few seconds. Here, where's my coffee? 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Wednesday. It's December 29th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. I want to shout out Kelly for sending me this awesome Phoenix mug. If you guys have been paying attention to everything that's going on with 2022 and the plans, I'm going to be touring, and we're calling it a tour. Good morning, Jenny. And we're calling it the Phoenix Rising Tour because I love that imagery. And Kelly sent over a Phoenix mug, and I'm super pumped about it. I got home last night from the gym, and this was on the shelf with the deliveries, and so I washed it right away because I wanted to use it this morning, and I'm super thankful. So I appreciate it, Kelly. Kelly is hosting one of those early seminars, January 22nd. I'll be at her school. Good morning, Andy and Mark and Daniel and Dennis and Susanna. Wow, look at everybody piling in like a roll call. This is fun. Well, I hope you had a solid Tuesday. I did. It was a more balanced day than I expected. So got some work done in the morning. Had an interview with someone who has been paying attention to our YouTube content. We brought them on actually for a Thursday episode, not a Monday episode. I didn't interview them so much, but we talked about a specific subject, and it went really well. And just gonna say, on the off chance that Andrew watches this, different Andrew, thanks again for coming on. No. Andrew was the other guy. See, I'm still waking up. Andrew was the second episode I conducted. That was an interview, and that went well. Shout out to Andrew, but also shout out to Danny, who did a great job. Both episodes went well. And then the third episode, the individual comes on, and he's in an airport. I was like, oh man, that's not what was supposed to happen. So we chatted about it, and he's like, yeah, multiple delayed, canceled flights. And I said, let's just reschedule, because I want to do this the right way, not the fast way. So that's what we did. And so I took that opportunity, got some other work done, sent Justin over some stuff for Marshall Journal for print edition, and it was good. It was a productive work day. Kelly's in the chat. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, just one more time. Just how fun is that? When I think of a Phoenix, I think of it in a few different ways. I think of the mythology of Phoenix. I think of that scene in Harry Potter. Because isn't Dumbledore's familiar a Phoenix? Am I remembering that correctly? So much fun. And Harry like jumps back, and then he's like, oh yeah. And then after the working, went to the range, had my best day ever at the range, went to the gym, had a great workout, came home, made some dinner, watched some TV, went to bed. Pretty simple day, but a great day. Now today's going to be a little bit different. I've got my normal Wednesday stuff, but then Andrew's coming up, and we're going to do a bunch of recording. We're going to record some episodes. So if you are around later, keep an eye on Facebook. We will probably go live if we record. I think we're recording a Q&A episode today. And assuming that we are, you'll be able to join, watch, contribute. We're having some fun with the live stuff, just trying to do as much. We're trying to do what we can to provide you with what you want. If we can make small adjustments to our content, like doing it live, and some of you find more value in that, let's do that. Right? It doesn't have to be any one thing. There are some people that I pay attention to not so much in the martial arts space, but in the content space, people that I admire a lot. And it doesn't mean that I'm following what they're doing, but I'm always paying attention to what they're doing. And if there's anything that you're passionate about, you should probably be paying attention to people who have success doing something that is similar, because you can get ideas. And there are a number of people that I pay attention to. It's like, oh, okay. And just kind of watching trends and everything like that. Stacy says, good morning, headed out the door, last day at this office. Catch you all tomorrow. Good luck. Enjoy your last day, Stacy. And he's asking, where do I go to the range? We're pretty lucky over here. I'm 15 minutes away from this really nice indoor range. And that's where I go when I get instruction. And it's a great environment. And the one thing I'm going to say, because I went in being very nervous, I'd shotguns a little bit, but not much. So I was nervous going in, kind of the same way most of us are nervous if we started a new martial arts school. And 100% of the reason for being nervous was in my head. There was absolutely no reason for me to be nervous. And they've treated me well. They've taught me well. And I've had a great time. Brian's here. Brian says, good morning. I'm in the car about 6:30 every day to get to work from the house. Service is spotty along the way to work. I'm going to start trying to stream this as much as I can on the way. Oh, awesome. I won't chat much driving and all. Yeah, don't. I know where you moved to roughly. And yeah, watch those roads, man. Andrew's here. Good morning. Morning. What did I miss? You missed my new mug. Kelly sent me a mug. Yeah. So that's that. That's yesterday. That's what's going on today. Nothing too big, nothing fancy, but good, solid stuff. Right? Okay. Jenny says, Jeremy was talking about you. All bad stuff. You have blackmail now. That's not true. I never speak badly about people in an environment where it can be recorded. I try not to speak badly about anyone. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but what are the rules? Because I ended up with people over the years. You remember junior high, high school, and the fact that most people don't mature beyond that. I had some people, and this was happening not in the martial arts environments that I was in, but in, believe it or not, the CrossFit gyms I was going to. It was really strange. Someone would come to me, they'd have a conversation with me about so-and-so. And, can you believe that so-and-so did this? And I would agree with them. And they'd go back to so-and-so and say, Jeremy said this about you. And it's like, what? Are we in junior high? What is going on? So I have this rule that I work really hard to maintain. I don't say anything about anyone that I wouldn't say if they were in the room. Doesn't mean you can't be critical, but you have to be constructive about it. And that has served me a lot better. I don't like gossiping. It's lame. Enjoy work, Andy. All right. Anything else to tell you? I don't think so. I'm looking around. Nope. So let's flip over. Let's see what let's talk about the stuff you guys left. We got stuff from Frank. We've got stuff from Josh. We've got stuff from Chris. All right. I'm going to start with Frank's stuff. Frank gave us 3 quotes from Tony Robbins. And if you don't know, I think very highly of Tony Robbins. I think Tony Robbins is awesome. And he has helped a lot of people. And he also catches a lot of flack from people, most of whom are the exact type of people that should be paying attention to him. And that bums me out. You see, in life, lots of people know what to do, but few actually do what they know. Knowing is not enough. You must take action. And there's been this really interesting counter message that I've seen over the last couple of years. People saying, just just relax, just enjoy, and that's fine unless you have goals. If you have goals, you can't just relax. You can't just sit by. You have to make a choice. You either take action or you find a way to be satisfied, content with where you're at. Neither is wrong. But people ask me, and when they ask, they often ask in a semi-critical way. You're always working. Yeah. There are big things I'm trying to accomplish. If I was trying to accomplish little things, I wouldn't work as much. I wouldn't have to. Or I would have worked a lot and already accomplished the little things. And I guess I have accomplished a lot of little things. But when you're trying to do big things, when you're literally trying to change the world, that requires a lot of work over a lot of time. So, yeah, that's not changing anytime soon. Does it mean that I don't get exhausted? Yeah, I'm on an emotional level right now. I'm very tired. In fact, I would say on a spiritual level, I'm tired. Physically, I feel good. I've got a pretty good balance. It would be lovely to take some time off, and I'm trying to work a little bit less this week than I did last week, and maybe even next week. We'll see. But if you're running a race and getting to the end of that race, getting to the finish line is really important to you, and you get tired, mile 22 of a marathon, do you just stop? Do you quit? Do you take a break? Do you listen? Do you look at the people on the sidelines and say, they're not running. Maybe I shouldn't be running. I'm still running. And I'm going to keep running. Hello, Lorraine. Lorraine says, have a nice day. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And to you. Jenny's back on the gossipy thing. I have a rule for tattletales that I started with my kids. Don't tell me what they did until you tell me what you did. Ooh, that's such a mom rule. I like that. All right, next quote. You don't have to have a reason to feel good. You're alive. You can feel good for no reason at all. We've ended up in this place societally where our default state is, I'm okay. If nothing's going on, I'm okay. I'm fine. And it sounds like you can hear it in people's voices. Their default being is not good. It's, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 5, a 4.5. About all the things that you have and are doing and all the good stuff going on. Shouldn't default be, I'm good. I'm doing pretty well. Or, if you're Tony Robbins, the way he looks at it, I'm amazing. Tony would probably say that. How are you? And even if there was nothing specific he could point at to say, I'm doing really well, this is really exciting. I'm just excited to be alive. And I would like more of us to adopt that philosophy. Not necessarily that you're ecstatic and you're going to jump up and down and shout from the rooftops, but if you don't have a reason to say something is bad or just okay, what about your default state being good or even great? Something I've been trying to work on. Gratitude. Just being thankful for what you have, where you have, who you have. I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for this show. I'm thankful that one of you thought enough of me to send me a mug. I'm thankful that, there are dozens of people who are going to watch or listen to this show. I'm thankful for the people that I talked to yesterday. I'm thankful for the day I'm going to have. I'm thankful I woke up. These are all great things. It doesn't have to be abnormal to be great. Ooh, there's a quote. It shouldn't be abnormal to be great. All right. Jenny apparently says that rule worked on my coworkers too, made them stop to think about their own actions and help resolve things by seeing the other person's point of view. I really like that. I think that's important. It's that same approach. It's bullying, but in a different way. It's trying to make yourself feel better by pushing other people down. I hate that. I really do. Some point, I will be surprised if I get out of this life without punching somebody in the face for that. I don't want to. I'm not a fan of violence, but I don't like bullies. Bullies need to be punched in the mouth. If you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envision it, it's possible. If you schedule it, it's real. I like that. If you schedule it, it's real. What if you took your goal that we're talking about New Year's resolutions a bit this week, and Friday we'll hopefully share everyone's New Year's resolutions. What if you set something in your calendar to say, celebrate whatever the goal is? I'm going to have a new job in this other industry. September 14th, 2022, go out to dinner with my friends to celebrate my new job. What if you did something like that? Oh, looks like Gabe's here on Instagram. Hi, Gabe. Don't be afraid to schedule it. All right, and now let's move over to... All right. Let's go with Josh's first. Building up to the latter part of the week with New Year's resolutions and all that, I was thinking of something earlier today, given the time of year we're in. In the West, at least, the holiday season had become synonymous with gift giving, for better or worse. Those of you with children know this better than anyone. Gifts are supposed to be that, gifts. But if there are expectations around what those gifts are, some level of disappointment is inevitable. And as an aside, it's not a gift. Same with the holidays themselves. Supposedly a time of giving, happiness, and joy, but cram a bunch of people together for long enough, especially if there were reasons why said people don't see each other at other times of the year. And again, expectation and reality may not jive. I'm definitely all for making goals. I make tons of them. But I wonder, in all the goal setting talk, we should also be helping people learn to cope with disappointment, since that too is part of life and not necessarily a bad thing. Thoughts? This is the extension of participation trophies. There has been a sanitization going on, especially among the experiences of youth by many, and you see it in the way public school is put forward. Now, I don't have kids in school, so 100% of my information on this subject comes from hearing what other people say. I can't speak to how prevalent this sort of stuff is. But there seems to be a general trend among kids. And it's not put forward by the kids, it's put forward by the parents, where kids aren't allowed to fail. They're not allowed to be disappointed. They can't miss. They can't strike out. They can't learn the reality of life, that life carries disappointment and that things don't always go their way. But that is the reality of life. And what happens as those kids age? And we're starting to see some of these people make it into the workforce. And they don't know how to function. There's something to be said for being 22, just out of college, a pile of college debt, and scraping nickels together to make life happen. Why? Because you learn to be frugal. You learn to be self-sufficient. There's a lot of things you learn through that process. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that kids should come out of college with the crushing levels of debt that they are now. That's a separate scenario. But whether you're sending $100 a month off to pay your $50,000 student loans or your $200,000 student loans, doesn't matter, right? You're that money, throwing that $100, $200, $300 a month at that debt. And I think that we're missing an opportunity allowing kids to be disappointed, to fail, to strike out, whatever, and build those skills when they're young, because the consequences are much less. There are a number of things I did not learn until I was an adult, especially about social situations, because I grew up a nerdy kid without a lot of friends, and I wish I had developed some of those skills when I was younger, because it would have been easier to stomach the consequences that come from having to learn that lesson as a kid versus an adult. And you see that a lot with people with money. Their parents take care of everything. They get to college or out of college or whatever, and all of a sudden, they're responsible for their own bills, and they're screwing it up because they weren't taught. But Josh goes on. Just earlier today, I was talking to my kids about this, different context, same concept. And the gist was, you don't get what you want all the time, but imagine if you always did, then it wouldn't be special anymore. And he says, I'm paraphrasing my daughter there. You can't have everything you want all the time, because otherwise it's not special. We know that, right? Like that's cliche. But we still forget. It's cliche, but it needs to be cliche, because otherwise we pretend otherwise. And then Chris asks, thank you, Josh, for that. Chris asks, following up on Frank's quote 3, how do you decide which ideas stay ideas and which ideas get promoted to action? So we're talking about a quote from yesterday. This is a question I get a lot in various ways. Andrew says, you can't have everything you want. Where would you put it all? I would have to build another building. And then I would want another building. And then I would want more land for more buildings. How do you decide which ideas become action? There was a period of time, so I'll share this anecdote, and then we can expand a little bit broader. There was a period of time when I wasn't sure what to do with whistlekick. This was the end of 2014, like mid to end of 2014. And I'd been keeping this Excel spreadsheet of ideas, all the things that we could do, the projects we could work on, the things that we could bring to life. And it was long. It was like 100 things on that list. And I think I still have it. I haven't updated it in a long time. But I'm looking at this list going, well, which of these things do I do? I have a little bit of money. I have a little bit of time. Clearly, I need to do something else, something more to help whistlekick move forward. And I wasn't sure what to do. So I did something very, very nerdy. I took that Excel sheet and I went through each idea and I gave it a score from 1 to 5. I think it was 1 to 5 in terms of how much money would it cost? 0 being no money and 5 being like a lot of money. How much time would it take? 1 being almost no time, 5 being tons of time. And then the potential impact. What was the likely impact of taking that action? And then I went through and I made a 4th column and I gave it a score. And it calculated based on the time input and the money input and the output, the result, the expected result. And I went back through and I made some modifications to the formula that I wrote out because I had more time than money. So I wanted to prioritize things that use time. And I looked at it a few different ways and I came up with a few different algorithms for this. And every time I did, the podcast came into the top. Every single time. So I decided to work on the podcast. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to put all this information in Excel. I'm not suggesting you have to be as nerdy about it as I was, and honestly have been at other times. This is something we do instinctively. Every decision we make, every idea we have is a balance of resources required and results. What are the resources going into it? What are the results? And I think about whistlekick in this way now. I'm restructuring. Some of you have seen what I call the crazy organizational chart. And I'm restructuring that right now because it's not the best way to think about the business. I'm thinking about the business in terms of the resources and the products. You know, the main resource we have, it's people. It's people that pay attention to what we do. It's people who help with projects. And it makes it easier to think about how to prioritize time. How does an idea bubble up from an idea to, I've got to do this? Well, how much time do I have available? How much money do I have available? What are the goals I'm trying to accomplish? Does this help me get there? To say it another way, and I've said this before on various shows, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. There are so many ideas, so many things that we could do to capitalize on the time, money we have, that you can't just pick okay ideas. You've got to pick amazing ideas. And even now, the number of amazing ideas I have available, I've had to raise that bar. What is it I'm going to work on? With the beginning of the tour, part of why I'm restructuring the org chart is what am I going to let go of? People are asking me, I mean, it is entirely possible that I'm gone half the weekends of 2022. It could very well happen based on the interest that's coming in. So as an aside, if you want me at your school, let me know. Like, let's get this on the schedule before there are no dates left. Because I will not be traveling every weekend, especially over the summer. There's too much to do. So you have to be selective. If you are aware of the resources available to you, if you are flooded with options, it's only natural you would pick the best things. Dennis says, the great philosopher Jagger once said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try real hard, sometimes you get what you need. I love it. Well, everybody, I think it's time. I think it's time to go. I appreciate you watching. Remember, if you are new to this show, you should check us out. No, that's the wrong button. Not that button. This button. You should check out the show. We do it live every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, primarily on Facebook and YouTube, but also on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram, sometimes. Not committing to that long term yet. If you have questions or comments or whatever for the show, best thing to do, go to the Facebook group, facebook.com/firstcupwithjeremy, or you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. And if you want to support us, we've got the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. Just made some updates to it yesterday. Yeah, go check that out. Tiers have been updated slightly. You can make a purchase at whistlekick.com with the code firstcup15. And if you want the full list, including fun behind the scenes, you're not going to see them elsewhere stuff, whistlekick.com/family. I added a couple more things to that yesterday. Constantly updating. If you're not paying attention to the stuff we're putting out, you are missing out. I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I hope to see you soon. And Andrew, I will see you later. Ha. All right, y'all. Be well. Peace.